We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIM. Our guest by phone, Assemblywoman Shannon Grove.
I wonder if the legislature in Albuquerque is having as many problems as the legislature in California is.
I would not be surprised. Well, boy, good question. I think so.
I think we ought to go there and check it out. Shannon, have you been to Albuquerque recently?
I have not been to Albuquerque, but it is very, very hard for me to fathom that legislators would have the same problems that we have here in California with the supermajority in power that is completely backed and back-pocketed by the unions and the environmentalists. I mean, they're taking land, they're passing budgets, they're spending money, they're doing all kinds of things. And there's a bill going through the building to do a study on tax on a vehicle mile traveled. So every mile you travel, you'll be taxed on vehicles. They just want to make it more expensive for you to be in your vehicle, and they want you on public transportation. There's SB 375, which was instituted in 2008, says that if you want transportation funds for your county, you'll build 20 units per acre, a quarter mile from, or half a mile from transit. Who wants to live on 20 units per acre? Not me.
Yeah. Shannon, there's a couple of issues that Clay and I want to talk to you about. One I know he's interested in, and one that I want to talk to you about. I noticed something that came out this morning. I guess that there's AB 154 passed the floor yesterday, and that's an abortion expansion bill. And in the write-up I saw, they gave you and some other Assembly people credit for trying to fight this thing. Can you talk about that bill and what it does? I mean, that's actually insane what this bill will do.
It's insane. And the reason why is because it gives, they hide behind the guise of providing medical care. What about medical care for a broken arm, a broken leg, something in your eye? They're saying that we have to allow midwives and physicians' assistants with a couple of weeks worth of training to perform abortions, to provide medical care for rural communities. But, like I said, it doesn't cover broken arms, broken legs, something in your eye. These people can't do anything with those. It's only, they hide behind the guise of medical care and women's reproductive rights in order to, pass a bill that allows midwives and physicians' assistants to be able to perform abortions. And the bottom line is that, I got up and there was a lady that had just been sworn in on a special election, and she stood up there just like all of us do. We raise our right hand and we swear to defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, as we take this oath of office. And the Constitution provides for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And in order to pursue happiness, you must first have liberty. And in order to pursue liberty, you must first have life. And life begins at conception. And I don't care who disagrees with me on that, and they can talk about women's reproductive rights and everything else. But the bottom line is that life begins at conception. And if everybody always stands behind the fact that, well, the Supreme Court said, well, the Supreme Court upheld slavery for a long time as well, okay? And legislators got together and they changed that law. And legislators can get together and change this law on a fight for life. They talk about the Holocaust. They talk about, things that take place take place against humanity. And the bottom line is that, it's a pretty sad day in America when the most dangerous place to live is in a mother's womb. There are more abortions or deaths that occur by abortion than there are in the streets of Chicago, the streets of Los Angeles, or, other major cities. And it's pretty sad.
Shannon, I've been involved in starting 2 crisis pregnancy centers, one in Tehachapi and one in the San Fernando Valley. And I remember when I was on the radio, 20 years ago, there was a situation where a woman had twins and she had to have one delivered in the 3rd trimester and the other one stayed in the womb. So technically the one that was in the womb could be killed and the one that was born could not be, because that would be considered murder. That's how insane the law is.
It is very insane. It's extreme. There was a statement made by one of my colleagues on the Democratic side of the aisle yesterday that said something to the fact that the reason why they say this bill is important is because she had a constituent that killed her child after it was born, and had she been able to have access to an abortion, she wouldn't be prosecuted for murder. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's just insanely left.
Yeah.
I won't, it's insanely left.
So what can people do about that particular bill? Because it's passed the Assembly, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a law. I mean, who would you contact? Is obviously
contact every senator. If you have friends in different parts of the state, have your friends contact every senator that represents them and tell the Senate. It was actually stopped in the Senate last year. We had two Democratic senators, that voted against it and stopped the bill. So this is the second time since I've been here this bill has been introduced. Yeah. And like I said, they just hide behind the guise of medical care, and that is just such a farce. It's outrageous.
Amazing.
So contact every senator, see if you can get that senator to vote no on it.
Okay. We're having a conversation with Assemblywoman Shannon Grove.
Shannon, I want to go into a couple other issues. One, why would I want to open a business, or why would I want to stay in business, especially when they start talking about increasing the minimum wage, which is going to do nothing but increase revenue to the government?
Why would you want to stay in business? There's other bills that are coming into play that if you are leaving, there's a bill going through the building right now that if you decide to leave or do a massive layoff or leave the state of California, then you're going to have to comply with some kind of rule where you have to report to the governor's office of GoBiz 90 days in advance before you leave. Like, what's going to be the penalty if you leave and don't report? I mean, give me a break.
But I didn't build this business.
I know. I know.
Let Obama report.
My company just celebrated 20 years in business in spite of this state, and we have managed to survive every year. It'd be nice if we could thrive and continue to employ people and give better job opportunities. A lot of these bills that are going through the building, even the ones that are on the floor today, are detrimental to the business owners. They are extremely detrimental. They actually provide other avenues for unions to be able to do, a more collective bargaining against businesses. They charge businesses, taxes and fees and services. There are going to be additional fees and services. They're looking at the workers' comp review. It's really a bad day for business today in this state capital.
Well, it's a bad day for the Republican Party as well. And I'm talking now about the Videk-Perez election, where he's 86 votes short of winning the election outright. It's funny that it seems like there's always some votes that are found in a trunk of a car or something.
They always go to the Democratic side. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I always find that really interesting.
What a coincidence.
All provisional. The Election Integrity Project, I suggest everybody get involved with Election Integrity Project. They can go to the website, electionintegrityproject.org or .com. I'm not sure, but it's either one of those. And they are a grassroots organization that finally got up and said, you know what, enough is enough. We need to train people to be at the polls. We need to train people how to, make sure that the vote counts and the vote that counts is right. And so I would encourage everybody to get involved with the Election Integrity Project. And they have been on the project this whole time up in the 16th Senate District. And I actually have a phone call scheduled this afternoon after floor with Ms. Payne, who is in charge of Election Integrity Project, to get an update on what they found there.
There was a group back east that was doing the same type of thing. It was a vote something or other, but they got sued by the federal government when they applied for their 501c3 license.
Similar to the IRS, right? That's
yes,
going on now.
Exactly.
That's when I had the D.C., the Secretary of, Ms. Dooley, the Secretary of the D.C. Centers and the DHS. She's in front of me, and I asked her a question, and she says, I don't know that I can answer that. And I asked her another question. She goes, I don't know that I can answer that. And I just looked at her and I said, I feel like I'm Congress and you're the IRS representative. And then I got in trouble.
I'm sure you did. There's one thing I wanted to mention. As you know, under Obamacare, groups have to supply a health insurance if they have more than 51 employees or 50 employees.
50, yes.
But there are ways around this. Like we have a program now for groups of 50 and above. For $100 a month, we can give them a program that meets all the rules, regulations, and requirements. So we are doing things in our industry to keep people from being forced to spend thousands of dollars or go out of business or lay employees off because of Obamacare.
There's a bill going. I appreciate what you do with your business, and we need that. We need people out there advocating for us to help not get around the rules, but to comply with the rules that saves jobs. And there's a bill going through the building right now that says that you can't lay people off because of Obamacare.
Oh, great.
Oh, I know. They're doing everything they can to bankrupt our businesses.
And and the bottom line is, then what do? You just close your doors? I mean, instead of having 50 employees, you now have 40. That's better than not having none at all, right?
Exactly.
But it's going to force businesses to close their doors. And it's really sad that Californians think like that. But the problem that we have is a lot of the people up here, out of the 80 members of the Assembly, very few of them, if I bet less than a handful, have ever had been a business owner or a manager. And then even fewer when you look at maybe people that have worked in the private sector. Probably only less than 10% have ever worked in the private sector. They're all government employees or union organizers.
Yeah, amazing. Shannon, thank you so much. I know you came out of session to talk with us today, and we really, really appreciate any time we can have with you. And thank you so much for what you do up there. You're a star up there in our minds.
And I love your new office.
My new office in the hole.
Yeah.
To me, that's a badge of honor. That's a badge of honor.
You
Yep.
know, if I was here for the office, it'd probably make me mad, but since I'm not, I don't care.
Yep, exactly. I really think that office in the corner is a badge of honor. Shannon, thank you so much for what you do.
Okay, God bless you guys. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.